University Challenge. Asking the questions, Jeremy Paxman.
Hello, it's the last of the first round matches tonight. 13 teams have gone through to the next stage of the competition, and whichever of tonight's two is ahead at the gong will join them. If the losers are to have a chance of staying alive, they'll need a score of 140 or more. Merton College, Oxford, was founded in 1264 by Walter de Merton, the Bishop of Rochester, and was the first college in Oxford to receive a charter as a self-governing body. Its mob quadrangle is said to be the oldest court in the university, and its library, dating from 1373, claims to be the world's oldest academic library in continuous daily use. Sir Christopher Wren and Sir Gilbert Scott have contributed to its architecture. Its fellows have included J.R.R. Tolkien, and alumni include the poet T.S. Eliot, Sir Thomas Bodley, the founder of the Bodleian Library, and the writer Max Beerbohm, whose time there inspired his novel Zuleika Dobson. With an average age of 23, representing around 580 students, let's meet the Merton team.
Hello, my name's Edward Thomas. I'm originally from Oxford, though I now live in Kent, and I'm reading Ancient and Modern History.
Hello, I'm Alexander Peplow. I'm from Amersham in Buckinghamshire, and I'm reading for a Masters in Medieval Studies.
And this is their captain.
Hello, I'm Leonie Woodland. I'm originally from Cambridge, and I'm studying physics.
Hello, my name's Akira Weiberg. I'm from Sweden and Japan, and I'm reading for a doctorate in molecular and cellular medicine.
Now, King's College London was founded in 1828 under George IV as a Church of England alternative to the more secular University College London, which had been set up a couple of years earlier. The Duke of Wellington's support for the institution was one of the reasons he and the Earl of Winchelsea fought a duel in 1829, which they both survived and which the college still commemorates every March. The college remains part of the University of London, although since 2007 it's awarded degrees in its own right. Famous King's people include the poet John Keats, the pioneer of antiseptic surgery Joseph Lister, Florence Nightingale, and more recently Archbishop Desmond Tutu and the theoretical physicist Peter Higgs. With an average age of 40 and representing nearly 29,000 students, let's meet the King's London team.
Hello, I'm Marta. I'm from Lisbon in Portugal, and I'm studying for a postgraduate certificate in academic practice.
Hello, I'm Richard Senior. I'm originally from Lincolnshire, and I'm studying for an MA in 18th century studies.
And this is their captain.
Hello, I'm Caroline Spearing. I'm from London, and I'm doing a PhD in 17th century Latin poetry.
Hi, I'm Lachlan Pryor. I'm from the Wirral and I'm studying geography.
OK, the rules are the same as ever. 10 points for starters, 15 for bonuses. Fingers on the buzzers, here's your first starter for 10. A revolution is not a bed of roses. A revolution is a struggle to the death between the future and the past. Who said that in a speech of 1961 on the second anniversary of the revolution that made him Prime Minister of his country? He became president in 1976 and died...
Merton Thomas.
Fidel Castro.
Yes. You get a set of bonuses. The first set, Merton, they're on world religions. In which present-day country is the city of Nankana Sahib the birthplace of Guru Nanak, the first guru of the Sikhs?
That's in the Punjab, but I don't know if it's in Pakistan or India.
Could be out of the Punjab in Pakistan, it's bigger. Should we go for that, isn't it?
Pakistan?
Correct. Born in about the 6th century BCE in Bihar state in northeast India, Mahavira is a major figure. In which religion it advocates non-violence in all circumstances?
Jainism.
Correct. Which religious teacher is believed to have been born in Lumbini, a grove near the southern border of Nepal, in about the 6th or 5th century BCE?
Yeah, is this the Buddha?
The Buddha.
The Buddha?
The Buddha is right. 10 points for this. In taxonomy, human beings are classed in the genus Homo. In which order is this genus placed?
Merton Weiberg.
Primates.
Primates is right. You get 3 questions on the FIFA World Cup. In the 2002 World Cup, which unfancied African team beat the holders France in the opening match. France were later eliminated in the group stage after losing to Denmark.
It's a former colony in West Africa. It's either Cameroon or Ivory Coast. Try that. Try Ivory Coast, and then Cameroon.
Ivory Coast.
No, it was Senegal. In the 2010 tournament, which European team beat the holders Italy 3-2 in their final group match, knocking them out of the competition?
France or Germany?
Sure, it's not the Netherlands.
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Go for... Who won it in 2010?
Don't know.
Go for Germany.
Germany.
No, it's Slovakia. And finally, in the 2014 World Cup, the holders Spain were knocked out in the group stage after losing twice. Name either of the teams that beat them.
That might be the Netherlands.
The Netherlands.
Correct. The other one was Chile. 10 points for this. Who's this? Born in the West Indies in the 1750s, he played a major role in the American Revolution and became the first Secretary of the United States Treasury.
Merton Peplow.
Alexander Hamilton.
Correct. These bonuses, Merton, are on diseases named after the location in which they were first identified. Firstly, for 5 points, having a high mortality rate, which acute febrile viral disease is named after the village in northeastern Nigeria, where it was first reported in 1969?
That's Lassa fever.
Lassa fever.
Correct. Named after a major East African landform, which viral fever can be transmitted to humans by mosquitoes or by the tissues or secretions of infected animals?
Zika, I think, is from Uganda. So go for you.
It doesn't like the West Nile virus. Something.
But he said East Africa, though.
Yeah.
Oh, I suppose that could be West Nile. Right.
Is Zika a landform?
No, it's not. Go for
Okay.
West Nile.
The West Nile virus.
No, it's the Rift Valley fever. And finally, which hemorrhagic fever is caused by a filovirus named after the river in the northern Congo basin where it first emerged in 1976?
Ebola.
Correct. We're going to take a picture round. For your picture starter, you're going to see the first 4 lines of one of Shakespeare's sonnets with 2 words missing. For 10 points, give me both those missing words.
King's Varela.
Minds, finds.
Correct. For your picture bonuses, 3 more of Shakespeare's sonnets with a pair of rhyming words removed. Again, please give me both missing words for the points. Firstly,
Sun and done. Yeah. Sun and done.
sun and done is correct, yes. Secondly,
I'd say find and wind would be a good guess.
Find and wind.
no, it's behold and cold. And finally,
Eyes, cries. Caroline, eyes and cries. Eyes and cries.
correct. Right, 10 points for this. Originally introduced in a series of children's books from the 1940s, which group of characters reappeared in 2016?
Merton Peplow.
The famous 5.
The famous 5 is correct, yes. You get a set of bonuses on events of 1907 this time, Merton. Thought to be the earliest complete survival of a dated printed book, a copy of the Diamond Sutra was discovered in a cave in Western China in 1907. It dates to 868 in the latter part of which Chinese dynasty?
That song. It's Tanzania, I think. So, I mean, I think song.
The Song dynasty.
It's the Tang dynasty. Secondly, under the suzerainty of the Russian Empire, which territory became the first in Europe to hold a parliamentary election by universal suffrage and with women candidates? It became independent in 1918.
Finland. Yeah.
Finland.
Correct. Along with New Zealand, which colony became a dominion of the British Empire in 1907? It joined Canada in 1949.
That's Newfoundland and Labrador, I think. It's in Newfoundland.
Newfoundland.
Newfoundland is correct, yes. Right, 10 points for this. In mathematics, what alternative name is given to the box principle, first stated in 1834 by the German Peter Dirichlet, with important application.
Merton Woodland.
The pigeonhole principle.
Correct. Merton College, you get another set of bonuses, this time on an expression. The words, "I am escaped with the skin of my teeth," appear in which book of the Old Testament? Often cited as an example of wisdom literature, it presents an explanation of the existence of evil and suffering in the presence of God.
Is that true?
I was going to guess Job.
Yeah.
Job.
Job is right. The Skin of Our Teeth is a stage work by which US author, also noted for the 1927 novel The Bridge of San Luis Rey?
Any idea what this is? No. We don't know.
That's Thornton Wilder. Insofar as we are the heirs of Greece and Rome, we got through by the skin of our teeth. Which broadcaster and art historian wrote those words in the opening chapter of the 1969 work, Civilization?
Kenneth Clark.
Correct. 10 points straight to this. Which peninsula extends south about 1,000 kilometres to Cape Pi, the southernmost point of the Asian continent?
Merton Weiberg.
The Malay Peninsula.
Correct. These bonuses are on serial publications of the 19th century, Merton. Established in 1828, which political magazine borrowed its title from an 18th century publication by Joseph Addison and Richard Steele?
Yeah,
The Spectator.
Correct. The Tracts for the Times were a series of 90 works published between 1833 and 1841 by the members of which theological group, named after the city with which its founders were closely associated?
Oxford movement.
Yeah, Newman.
The Oxford Movement.
Correct. Surviving for only 4 issues between January and April 1850, The Germ was a periodical established by which group of English painters, poets and critics?
The Pre-Raphaelites.
Correct. 10 points for this. What initial letter links a unit of length equivalent to 1/10 of a nautical mile, a unit of radioactivity replaced in 1975 by the becquerel, and the SI units of electrical charge and luminous intensity?
Merton Woodland.
C.
C is correct, yes. Right, these bonuses are on astronomy, Merton College. Firstly, for 5 points, which comet bears the designation 1P to indicate that it was the first periodic comet to have its period established?
Halley's Comet.
Correct. Which 2 surnames designate comets, including 118P, 129P, and the periodic comet that hit Jupiter in 1994?
Hale-Bopp,
Yeah.
I suppose.
Hale-Bopp.
No, it's Shoemaker and Levy. Since its mission ended in 2016 in a gentle collision with the comet's nucleus, which European Space Agency probe is now part of the periodic comet 67P?
So that must be Philo.
Yeah.
Philo.
No, it was Rosetta. We're going to take a music round now. For your music starter, you'll hear a piece of popular music. 10 points if you can give me the name of the artist.
Merton Peplow.
T-Rex.
No, anyone like to buzz from Kings? You can hear a little more.
King Spearing.
Is it Tom Jones?
No, it's not. It's Edwin Starr, his War. So we'll take the music bonuses in a moment or two. 10 points for this. The Moth, The Poker Night, and Blanche's Chair in the Moon were among the titles given by Tennessee Williams to early drafts of which...
King Spearing.
Streetcar Named Desire.
Correct. That means you get the music bonuses. Edwin Starr's War was banned from broadcast on BBC Radio during the Gulf War. For your music bonuses, 3 more songs banned by the BBC during that period. 5 points for each artist you can name. Firstly...
Tears for Fears.
It is Everybody Wants to Rule the World. Secondly...
Strumming my pain with his fingers.
Roberta Flack.
Just killing me softly with his song. What a ridiculous organisation it is. And finally...
Elton John.
It is Elton John, Saturday Night's All Right for Fighting. Right, another starter question. In the variant of football called futsal, originating in South America, each team has several substitutes and a maximum of how many players on the field, including the goalkeeper?
Kings Varela.
5.
5 is right, yes. 3 questions on the British physicist and engineer Hertha Ayrton for your bonuses. In 1902, Ayrton published a standard work on what form of lighting? Its name comes from the shape formed by the high-density current between 2 separate conductors.
Arc.
Correct. Quote, the police soon traced me to the house of my friend, Mrs. Hertha Ayrton, and the place straight away became a besieged fortress. Which campaigner wrote that in an autobiographical work of 1914?
Emmeline Pankhurst.
Correct. When a young woman in the 1870s, Ayrton was an inspiration for the character of Myra Cohen in Daniel Deronda, a novel by which author?
George Eliot.
Correct. 10 points for this. William Cooper's lines, I am monarch of all I survey, my right there is none to dispute, describe which man during his time living alone on a remote island in the South Pacific?
Merton Weiberg.
Alexander Selkirk.
Correct. You get a set of bonuses this time on the Cold War, Merton College. Often referring to the thaw in US-Soviet relations from the 1960s, what French term means the easing of strained relations between states?
Détente.
Correct. A form of détente, what German term is used of the approach of the West German leader Willy Brandt, who sought to improve ties with East Germany?
Gestalt.
No, it's Ostpolitik. Meaning openness, what Russian term denotes the practice initiated by Mikhail Gorbachev that involved greater openness in debate and in the reporting of events?
Glasnost.
Glasnost is correct. 10 points for this. A 60-kilometre canal linking which 2 major rivers enables ships from the Caspian Sea to reach the Black Sea? The rivers are the 2 longest of European Russia.
Merton Woodland.
The Volga and the Don.
Correct. These bonuses are on 2-letter ISO codes for languages. Firstly, which major language shares a 2-letter ISO abbreviation with a major sporting body founded in 1863? Its recent executives have included Greg Dyke and Adam Crozier.
What's that for? No, it's a language. And French is FR.
Yeah, Farsi, maybe.
No.
Try that.
Farsi.
Farsi or Persian is correct, yes. Which major language shares a 2-letter abbreviation with the canton of Zurich in Switzerland?
Zulu. Zulu.
Try that. Yeah.
Zulu.
No, it's Chinese. And finally, the 2-letter ISO abbreviation of which major language corresponds to the postal abbreviation of the US state whose capital is Honolulu?
So HI. So,
Hindi.
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 Hindi's right. 10 points for this. Which character in Melville's Moby Dick shares his name with a biblical outcast?
King Spearing.
Ahab.
No, I'm afraid you lose 5 points. The son of Abraham and Hagar. The character is the only one to survive the...
Merton Peplow.
Ishmael.
Indeed, call me Ishmael. Your bonuses are on the Cavalier Poets, Merton College. Having been imprisoned for presenting a royalist petition to a hostile House of Commons, which poet wrote the lines, "Stone walls do not a prison make, nor iron bars a cage"?
Do you know who this is? So this used to be 1600s, 1650s-ish.
No.
We don't know.
That's Richard Lovelace. And secondly, the Cavalier poet and dramatist Sir John Suckling, who was a gentleman of the Privy Chamber to Charles I, is credited with the invention of which card game?
I thought that was way later. Well, Contract Bridge is way later anyway. Yeah. Whist?
No, it's cribbage. And finally, which cleric wrote the poem which opens, "Gather ye rosebuds while ye may"?
It's Robert Herrick. Yeah.
Robert Herrick.
Correct. We're going to take a picture round. For your picture starter, you're going to see a photograph. 10 points if you can identify the subject.
Merton Weiberg.
Matahari.
It is Matahari, yes. Executed in 1917 on charges of espionage for Germany during the First World War. For your bonuses, 3 more figures known for their involvement in spycraft. 5 points for each you can identify. Firstly,
Francis Walsingham, I think. Yeah.
Francis Walsingham.
it is Francis Walsingham. Yes, he was Elizabeth I's spy master, of course. Secondly,
But was he a spy?
No.
We don't know.
that's Harriet Tubman, who was a scout for the Union Army during the American Civil War. And finally,
Was that one of the Cambridge
Yeah.
files?
Yeah.
Is that
Blunt?
Philby or Blunt's?
I don't know.
Should we go for Blunt's? Well, I don't know.
Blunt?
no, that is Kim Philby, part of that same ring, of course, but that was Philby. Right, 10 points for this. Answer promptly. In degrees, what is the value of 2 pi radians?
Merton Woodland.
360.
Correct. 3 questions on playing the violin for your bonuses this time. When playing the violin, what technical term denotes the rapid repetition of a single note? It's usually represented in musical notation by 3 thick, parallel diagonal lines.
It's tremolo.
Tremolo?
Correct. Meaning hammered, what French term denotes a percussive stroke produced by increasing the finger pressure of the index finger on the bow at the beginning of each note?
Malay?
What's? Oh yeah, hammered in French. Yeah, something like that.
Malay?
Mallet?
No, it's martelle. And finally, what Italian musical direction indicates that the strings of the instrument should be plucked with the fingers rather than played with the bow?
Pizzicato.
Correct. Another starter question. Gower, Cannock Chase, the Northumberland coast and the Quantocks were in the 1950s among the first regions of England and Wales to be given what designation?
Merton Thomas.
Areas of outstanding natural beauty.
That is correct, yes. These bonuses are on income tax, Merton College. During which decade did William Pitt the Younger introduce income tax as a temporary measure to cover the cost of war with France?
I think 1790s rings a bell.
Was there a
Pitt
war?
was Pitt the Younger, that's too early.
French Revolutionary Wars. So if it's actually Napoleonic Wars.
Okay.
Well, actually...
I don't know, somewhere in my guts. I've got 1790s. But...
Yeah, go for 1790.
1790s.
Correct. As part of a programme of free trade and tariff reduction, which Prime Minister reintroduced income tax in 1842?
Is that going to be Peel or...
Peel?
It was. In the People's Budget of 1909, which Chancellor brought in income tax with varying rates and a super tax for higher levels of income?
Lloyd George.
Correct. 10 points for this. Dating from the 1620s, to which post was Judith Weir appointed?
Merton Peplow.
The Master of the King's Music.
Yes, or Queen's Music. Your bonuses this time are on stately homes. Begun in 1687, which stately home in the Derbyshire Dales is the principal seat of the Dukes of Devonshire?
They're called Cavendish. It's
Chatsworth.
Chatsworth. That's in Derbyshire. Yeah. Chatsworth.
Correct. Which restored medieval castle in West Sussex is the seat of the Dukes of Norfolk?
Arundel.
Correct. Rebuilt from a Cistercian abbey in the 18th century, which stately home is the seat of the Dukes of Bedford?
Abbey. No.
I think we better have an answer, please.
We don't know.
That's Woburn Abbey. 10 points for this. Lying mainly in the constellations Dorado and Tucana, respectively, the two major irregular companion galaxies of the Milky Way are known by what?
King's Varela.
Magellan Clouds?
Magellanic Clouds is correct, yes. You're probably pronouncing it better than I am. Right, you get a set of bonuses on the taglines of British films, Kings. Released in 2000, which British animated film featured the voice of Mel Gibson, among others, and had the tagline, "Escape or die frying"?
Chicken Run.
Correct. Secondly, a romantic comedy with zombies is the tagline of which 2004 British film directed and co-written by Edgar Wright?
Shaun of the Dead.
Correct. Which 1987 cult black comedy follows the adventures of two unemployed actors and had the tagline, "If you don't remember the 60s, don't worry, neither did they"?
With Nail and I.
That's correct. Another starter question. What surname links Jacob, a deceased character in a short novel of 1843, with Bob?
King Spearing.
Marley.
Marley is right, yes. Your bonuses are on tea, Kings. In each case, identify the tea-growing area from the description. Firstly, a state of northeastern India with its capital at Dispur.
Darjeeling.
No, it's Assam. Secondly, an upland area in Tamil Nadu state. Its name means blue mountains.
Nilgiri.
Correct. And finally, a city in West Bengal, about 500 kilometres north of Kolkata. Its name means place of the thunderbolt.
Darjeeling.
Correct. 10 points for this. In the standard model of particle physics, what general name is given to particles with half-integer spin?
Merton Woodland.
Fermion.
Fermions is correct, yes. Your bonuses this time are on pairs of titles that differ only in their final word. For example, Life of Pi and Life of Brian. In each case, listen to the description and give both titles. Firstly, two novels published in 1957, one by Jack Kerouac, the other by Neville Shute. Well, they're, of course, on the road and on the beach. But, Kings, I could hear you sighing with frustration when they just beat you to the buzzer so often. But, Merton, that was a terrific performance from you. Very well done. We should look forward to seeing you in round 2 of the competition. Thank you for joining us. Thank you both for joining us. I hope you can join us next time when we'll have the first of the playoffs between the highest-scoring losers. But until then, it's goodbye from King's College London.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.
It's goodbye from Merton College, Oxford.
Goodbye.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.